Hey everybody, Scott Taylor with Equity Real Estate. I'm based in Utah. This is the second part of our series on seller financing, and it addresses any concerns the seller might have before entering one of these transactions. One of the first questions that many people have is this legal? 100% legal in all 50 states. Again, I'm based in Utah. I can do it anywhere in the United States. You can do this anywhere in the United States. You just have to make sure you are using a title company that's familiar with these transactions. There are some detailed forms that need to be used. Some title companies are not as familiar with it and are not comfortable doing them. But yes, it is 100% legal. Back in the 70s, 80s, when interest rates were 16 to 19%, this is all that happened. You didn't take a prospective buyer to the credit union to get pre-qualified. You had a current owner use their mortgage and become the bank to a new buyer. So yes, 100% legal. One of the other concerns is if the buyer does not make a payment because your name is still on the current mortgage, they're just making the payment for you. What if they don't make their payments? This is actually a little bit easier to take the property back because you don't have to go through the foreclosure process, which is a legal process that banks have to go through if you default on your mortgage. That can take 6 months or longer. You can do a forfeiture if you have a contract for deed in 30 days and take the property back. What do you do when you take the property back? You do it all over again. You do another seller financing transaction. You keep their down payment. They lose their down payment, which is why you want to typically get at least 10% or more of a down payment to guard against this possibility. We also like to pre-qualify the buyers to a certain degree to understand why they can't qualify for traditional financing and what are the possibilities of them paying this contract off if you have a balloon payment, typically in 5 years, or you can have no balloon payment if you want to put this over the length of the loan. Another concern is if a seller sells on financing and they have that mortgage still on their credit, how do they qualify for a new mortgage? If you need to do that right away, the best method is to do what's called a lease option to a contract for deed. It's a very specialized form that our lawyers have drafted up, perfectly legal, and it allows you to structure this as a lease option so that you can take those payments off your debt to income ratio. Once you qualify for your new mortgage and you're in your new home, then this converts to a contract for deed, just like it was in most original transactions. If you don't need to qualify right away for a mortgage and you just do a contract for deed, 12 months worth of payments, an underwriter will remove that from your debt to income ratio. So depending on what you need to do, there's ways to make this happen. One of the last concerns is the due on sale clause. Almost all mortgages have this built in, whereas if you transfer title or transfer to a new owner, they can call the mortgage due and payable. Rarely does this happen. It has happened in the past. We have a gentleman who's been doing this for 30 years. It's happened to him one time. He just ignored it, kept making the payments. Nothing ever happened. Typically, the banks are not in the business of repossessing property, especially a mortgage that is performing and payments are being made. There's a lot of ways to get around this. Typically, we structure the insurance and the payments so that a lot of times they're not even aware that the contract for deed has taken place. If they do call it due and payable and they are insistent on making that happen, you can do a lease option, convert it back. There's ways to get around this. It's not a huge concern. Rarely does it happen. Rarely does it happen. So these are some of the major concerns that a seller might have when they do a seller financing transaction. Again, I'm available for questions if you want to go over this. I'm in Utah. I can do this in all 50 states. You can do it wherever you're located. My email is bestpropoffers@gmail.com. Feel free to reach out and we can have a discussion. Thank you very much.